You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
This is your co-host, Danny.
And we have an all NBA show for you today, fans. This is a whole lot going on in NBA, man. And we just couldn't talk about anything else but the NBA, man. You get the NBA play-in tournament happening. You have the likes of Kyrie Irving getting 40, 50, 90. The NBA African League is starting up. Hall of Fame reactions. Man, it's just a whole lot to talk about. But first, Danny, let's get into Kyrie Irving, man. Let's just go ahead and start there. Kyrie Irving has actually become a new member of the 40, 50, 90 club. That is the club in where he shoots 40% or at least 40% from the three-point line, 50% from the field, and 90% from the free throw line. This year's stats for Kyrie Irving: in only 54 games out of a 72 game season, he's averaged 27 points a game, about close to 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Very good season considering he's only played in 54 games. He shot 50.6% from the field, from the three-point line, 40.2%, and from the free throw line, 92.2%. So he is officially a part of the 40, 50, 90 club. And I'll say this, Danny. I wonder what it would have been like, his numbers would have been like if it was another 10 games that he played. This is a 72-game season. He's played 54, so he missed 18 games. I just really wonder what would have happened if he played another 10 games against some competitive teams. Would his numbers be like this? I think he would have done well from a free throw line perspective. Yeah. But when you talk about from the field, he was right on the edge there, 50.6% from the field. Man, that would have been really, really close. But nonetheless, he's in there. We'll see what happens in the playoffs with Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. But congratulations to him. There has got to be, in my opinion, a higher minimum than what they currently have right now. Kyrie missing 18 games, which would equate for, let me do the quick calculations, which would be about 75% of the games that he played. 10 more games, I think it would have been quite different for his stats and everything. What say you?
With him being on the fringe with those percentage points, I think 10 more games, man, you got to be shooting well to keep that average up like that. So I think he would have been close. Like you said, he's a great free throw shooter. So the 90%, that's not a concern. And with Harden not being there, I think that's where it would have been the challenge as well, because with Harden in the lineup, that opens up a lot. It spaces the floor better for Kyrie to get to the basket and get those 2-pointers and open 3-pointers, if you want to consider that too, with KD and James Harden on the floor for him. Mm-hmm. So I think it would have been very close. Congratulations to him.
And now, Danny, to the play-in tournament. Last night's games were phenomenal, where you had to start off the night the San Antonio Spurs against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies ended up winning 100-96, sending the San Antonio Spurs back home. And the Memphis Grizzlies advancing to play against in the second game. It was the Warriors against the Lakers. Another phenomenal game. The Lakers won by 103 to 100. Man, both Steph Curry and LeBron James put on a show. In particular, more so Steph.
Mm-hmm.
Steph was phenomenal this game, man. 37 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. He just went ahead and went bonkers. An awesome evening of basketball. Now it shapes up that the Memphis Grizzlies will play the Golden State Warriors to see who actually advances into the playoffs. That's going to be a phenomenal game as well. But let me just say this, Danny. In looking at this Golden State Lakers game yesterday evening, one thing that I really found really interesting, because you got to realize that both LeBron and AD has been out for a significant number of games. They haven't played all together, including with Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really found, yes, in the first half, the Lakers were actually really not in rhythm. They were just all completely off. But that could have been because Andre Drummond was on the court. And they hadn't really played with them like that, with all the pieces together. And when Andre Drummond in the second half pretty much didn't play it as much, you put AD at the 5, and it opened things up a lot more for the Lakers. So I really wonder moving forward how this is going to really work with Andre Drummond. I mean, he only played 17 minutes last night. He pulled down 7 boards. He was very effective from what he tends to do. He only scored 4 points, but he pulled down the boards. Had a couple of blocks. But at the same token, having AD playing the 5, I think opens things up a lot more for what the Lakers would want to do. So this is going to be interesting to see how this really moves forward with the Lakers and all. And I would say this real quickly: Wesley Matthews added an additional spark to the Lakers bench. He came in, nailed a 3 immediately. Those was his only points, but he had that defensive presence and just added an additional spark. So kudos to a former Buck and everything. But yeah, I think the Lakers are going to beat the Phoenix Suns, but we'll see. That's going to be another interesting battle in the first round, man. This playoffs is going to be just completely awesome and completely fantastic. What say you, Danny?
So, Jason, first, that Spurs Memphis game last night, we talked offline about it was a throwback game where they're dumping it down in the post, and Valanciunas was backing down the Spurs and playing a lot of the post games. And the Spurs don't shoot a lot of threes either. So it was a lot of inside the 3 games. So a lot of pull-ups and hitting the glass. And so it was a nice throwback game, which Memphis blew a lead and ultimately held on. So seeing them play Golden State tomorrow night will definitely be an interesting contrast of styles for sure. I know Morant and those dudes can get up and down the floor, but they like to slow it down and play through Valanciunas and then kind of work it out that way. But as far as that Golden State Lakers game, a couple of observations. One, LeBron didn't have his legs. So if you watch that game, he didn't have any lift.
Nope.
He had a shot blocked a couple times or challenged where he just didn't have any, even on his fadeaways, he couldn't get back far enough. Or if he was going to the basket, he wasn't getting up high enough on his layups and things. So second half, though, his legs seemed, he showed a little more hop to his game. So maybe it was just him just getting his wind back and getting into the flow, like you said. AD He was broke that first half. He couldn't hit anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back in the second and had a strong second half. Also, another piece that didn't play with him was Dennis Schroeder because he missed some time. So trying to incorporate him as well. So, like you said, they're just melding together as the game went on. But the bench, Caruso had a really good game last night and actually had a couple nice stops on Curry. He had one play where Curry went to dribble, got it knocked off his leg, and the Lakers got the possession. He had a few buckets, man, that should have been and ones. So he played really well, and that's good for them. Caldwell Pope hit a couple big shots, like you said. Wesley Matthews on the defensive end was huge for them last night. So I'm curious to see how AD responds to playing the five if they have to go to that game where Drummond sits and Gasol sits and it's AD at the five, especially with Phoenix, because with Ayton in the middle, they got a lot of bigs going on. So I'm curious how that'll go. But definitely, man, I stayed up and watched that game, and I thought for sure it was going to overtime. But LeBron hit that shot, and then when Golden State had the opportunity to get that shot, and they called the timeout, and then it ultimately turned the ball over. Mm-hmm. It was that game was all it was cracked up to be and promoted as in that second half. The first half was kind of rough from the Lakers standpoint. Curry was just that second quarter. He was on fire, man, and it's just a joy to watch. So I'm looking forward to that game tomorrow night just to see Curry again. And I'm hoping Golden State makes it to play Utah in that first round.
No, I am too. And, at the same token, though, I like to see a young team, a young Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. to, experience their first taste of the playoffs, man, because they were on the verge of it last year in the bubble.
Yes.
Didn't make it. And now you have what they're experiencing or going to experience tomorrow, man. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I really do. I really do. And I'm very interested in this first weekend of the playoffs, man. You start Saturday with our Milwaukee Bucks playing the Miami Heat. And then you have Dallas at the Clippers, Boston at the Brooklyn Nets, Portland at Denver. Man, this is Saturday is going to be just straight vicious, wall-to-wall basketball. And then you have Sunday where whoever wins this evening between the Washington Wizards and Indiana Pacers will face the Philadelphia 76ers. You start that on Sunday. Then you have the Lakers at Phoenix. And then you end with, man, and this is a very intriguing matchup, the Hawks at New York Knicks.
Yep.
And to my understanding, the New York Knicks are going to have 15,000 fans in the stands.
Whoa.
They've already sold out 15,000 tickets. Now, granted, that's not obviously full capacity, but that is the most fans in the NBA that has been allowed since COVID, since they have allowed fans. Is my understanding that the Philadelphia 76ers, they're expecting about 10,000 fans. Utah Jazz, around 13,000 fans. The Milwaukee Bucks and Dallas Mavericks are around 9,000 fans. So there's going to be some fans in the stands in this playoffs, man. And this is going to be, this is going to be something else, man. I cannot wait just to feel the energy from the fans in the stands, just the whole hypeness. And I'm pretty certain that the players are going to feel the energy as well, man. So this is going to be a tremendous playoff run. So, Danny, just as we're talking about the NBA playoffs starting, we also have a new league in Africa, the Basketball Africa League, in where they actually started earlier this week. and the games are going to be played at Kigali Arena in Rwanda. And it looks like they have a full slate of games culminating in where the playoffs actually start in about 5 days.
Yep.
And the finals are going to wrap up by the end of May. And so, man, this is exciting. There's been some highlights from one particular person, and that is J. Cole. Now, my hope is that this league is not going to honestly be a sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not calling J. Cole a sideshow or anything of that sort. But J. Cole is not a professional basketball player. I can see J. Cole maybe being in a celebrity all-star game, if you will, during All-Star weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the brother's skills or anything like that, but to have him in a new league, I don't know if they're trying to get eyes to the league. I don't know what they're trying to do there.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Danny, this is very intriguing. It's very intriguing because you have 12 teams in this league, all around the continent of Africa. And all the games are going to be played, like I mentioned before, in Rwanda. And man, this is very interesting, man, because the way they have actually broken things down, from what I could tell, is almost kind of like how they do in soccer. So if you look at the standings so far in this Africa League, they actually have three different groups: Group A, Group B, and Group
Yep.
C. And so, man, this is really interesting how they have this laid out, and they actually have obviously a win loss, but they also have a point system as well. So this is going to be really interesting to see how they fine tune things. But
Mm-hmm.
I could see honestly eventually a actual basketball player coming out of this league, or basketball players coming out of this league and going into the NBA.
Yep.
So this is going to be really interesting, man. You know, I read one other thing, Danny. I read in an article here in U.S. News, and they were fearful of politics, you know, really starting to play a role here, just because you have now, in a sense, new money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and they just want to make sure that, you know, things are legit on the up and up, things of that nature. But um, as I mentioned, it is in Rwanda, and obviously we know that things happened in Rwanda several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like they have really built things back up in Rwanda with regards to their literacy rate, which is at 73%. They have the 38th ranking in terms of the World Bank's ease of doing business ranking. So they have been building up and everything. So this is just adding to it. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this league really shapes up. And I'm super duper excited. The one thing that I have noticed too, in terms of being able to watch
Mm-hmm.
the games seem to come on NBA TV possibly during the course of a day, and all. So it could be very difficult for people to watch here in the States, but nonetheless, the interesting thing is off of their website, they actually have the videos or the full playback videos of the games.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just go in at any time you want to their website, boom, click on the game, and there you have it. So, man, this is going to be really interesting to see how they really progress this and move forward with and everything. But I think they have several great ambassadors coming out of the NBA, former NBA players, like a Dikembe Mutombo. I remember seeing an article that rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. When he was alive, he actually went to Africa and helped to become an ambassador as well, and several other players. So they're really galvanizing around this league, and I think this is going to bode well for Africa.
It's definitely something where you hope that it gains traction. And I know it's a short month. Like you said, by end of May, it'll be done by the time they crown a champion and go through the tournament and everything. And they will be airing some of the games on ESPN as well once they get into the tournament. So for those of you who do not have NBA TV, you will get a chance to see it on ESPN, or like Jason said, check the website for highlights. It's a good way to get started. And they have Genius, which is a company that's more on data analytics. They're associated with this as well. And this company also works with the LA Clippers, so Steve Ballmer. And they have different fan experiences set up, like around VR and different experiences around the game that is not just the game. It's the game around the game or game inside the game. So that's also cool that they're getting all these different things set up from a technology perspective as well to dabble in that. And definitely looking forward to seeing how this goes. And hopefully it gets more attention as it revs up and gets into the finals.
So the Hall of Fame class that just went in for 2020 had their ceremony this past weekend, and man, it was just absolutely phenomenal to hear the speeches. Congratulations to Patrick Bowman, rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant, Tamika Catchings, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Kim Mulkey, Barbara Stevens, Eddie Sutton, and Ruth Tomjanovich. Again, congratulations. Speeches were great. Vanessa Bryant did a phenomenal job. And Michael Jordan was there to present Kobe into the hall. It was just really one of the most decorated Hall of Fame classes that I can remember. There's something very interesting that I found in it is that Tim Duncan actually talked quite a bit. We really don't hear anything from Tim Duncan, and man, he really talked. So kudos for Tim Duncan. The day after, the next Hall of Fame class was actually announced. And that Hall of Fame class consists of Rick Adelman, Chris Bosh, Yolanda Griffith, Lauren Jackson, Paul Pierce, Bill Russell as a coach, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, and Jay Wright. And part of the Veterans Committee, Bob Dandridge, Pearl Moore, part of the Women's Veterans Committee, part of the International Committee, Tony Kukoc. And then there's some others, Clarence Jenkins, early African-American pioneer, contributor, Val Ackerman, Cotton Fitzsimmons, and Howard Garfinkel. And so, man, this is going to be an awesome class too, Danny. I'll say this, man. Now, you and I, we did predict who was going to be in this next class. I believe we got some right. We got some wrong. I think I had Bill Russell going in, right?
Yep. We have Bill Russell.
And you didn't have Bill Russell going as a coach.
Yep.
I guess the way I looked at it, well, Bill Russell is a frat brother of mine, but also the way I looked at it was, man, anything Bill Russell, they're going to bless, irregardless of record or anything.
Yeah,
and he's up there in age too.
Yep.
So I was like, they were gonna put him in. We both got Paul Pierce correct.
Yes. He was the no-brainer of the class, I think.
I agree. I think we split on Chris Webber.
Yes, we did.
And he got in. It was interesting, and I saw the interview between Chris Webber and Jalen Rose.
Yep.
And it was interesting because obviously their history,
Mm-hmm.
but even their history after the Fab Five,
Mm-hmm.
their history as adults. I think they have mended fences. I believe Chris Webber is coming out with his own documentary and his own book to tell his story.
Yep.
And that is going to be phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
because now not only would that come out, but it's going to come out with him as a Hall of Famer. You talking about must see TV when that comes out? That's going to connect a whole lot of pieces, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we split on Chris Webber. Ben Wallace.
We both said
I
no.
believe we both said no to Ben
Yeah.
Wallace.
Yep.
He got in.
Yep. I think he was of everyone that got selected, in my opinion, I think he was a surprise.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that. Chris Bosh.
We both said no. But I was on the brink of saying yes, but I didn't go through with it. But uh, his resume, he had a strong resume with the championships, the Olympic gold medals, the NBA championships, the Olympic gold medals. So that definitely helped his cause. We felt he was going to get in. It's just we didn't know if he was going to be on the first ballot.
This is going to be interesting, I think, moving forward
Mm-hmm.
in terms of longevity of a career. Chris Bosh, I want to say he attended Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he balled, but I don't think it was like a significant influence in college. Like he didn't win a national championship.
No.
I don't think he was hotly, marketed in college. But he was, in Toronto. So maybe him playing in a different country
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped. And he led that team. And
Yep.
yes, yeah, he was a part of the big three in Miami, got a couple of championships, went to 4 finals with LeBron and D Wade. But other than that, it's kind of like, so this is going to be interesting. I see. Here's where I think there needs to be an NBA Hall of Fame. Because if there was an NBA Hall of Fame, they're saying in this case that Chris Bosh would be in that NBA Hall of Fame too then. Congratulations to Chris Bosh.
Mm-hmm.
There was one in particular who I thought was going to get in, Marcus Johnson, former Buck, former UCLA Bruin, did not get in this time. Same thing with Michael Cooper. I believe he was going to get in this time.
Oh, you had some strong feelings and emotions for Michael Cooper in that show.
Come on, man. Coop should be in there, man. Listen, if Chris Bosh made it in, Cooper should make it in. And not only that, Cooper won a championship in the WNBA with the LA Sparks.
Yep, he did.
As a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, man, I think Cooper's getting done wrong here, man. He wasn't the most loved in terms of all-star appearances, but he was a hellified defensive player on the wing. He was a key component in Showtime Lakers. I think you got to put Coop in there, man.
Maybe next year, Jason.
We'll see. Danny, and to go back to this Michael Cooper snub in the Hall of Fame, Michael Cooper is a 5-time NBA champion, 8-time all defensive player, and a defensive player of the year back in 86, 87. All I'm saying is this, Danny. Yes, you have Chris Bosh, but man, I can even go to Ben Wallace. If you put Ben Wallace in there as a Hall of Famer, man, you got to put Michael Cooper in there as a Hall of Famer. I just don't understand why he is getting so. I don't know why he's getting snubbed. I mean, he is a career. I mean, he averaged 9 points a game, but that wasn't his game. His game was strictly on, to play defense on the wing. That was his game. And for him to be a defensive player of the year, a 5-time NBA champion, and he was a critical piece of the Showtime Lakers, and to be a defensive player of the year, man, Michael Cooper's getting snubbed, man. That really kind of bothers me, man, that Cooper's not in, man. Because when you think about Coop, I just remember as a kid watching Showtime Lakers in the championship, and I'm watching Coop because you could depend on him. You couldn't help but to see Coop because with the high stocks, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
But you could depend on Coop playing some hellified defense on the wing, and he could shoot that occasional three. The three wasn't as popular back then as it is obviously now.
Mm-hmm.
But Coop would be the one who would help stretch the floor.
Yep.
And everything. It wasn't a whole lot of stretching because you obviously had Kareem down low or what have you. But, man, he would surprise you with a three here or there and everything to keep you honest. But, man, Cooper should be in there. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.